Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we continued on with the prophecy storyline, which had us go to a world that was dealing with a chaos plague and fought it a bit, and then we came back, talked to Metrodora Thelema, talked to the Alpha Pariah, and we get to go back down and deal with it some more.
You are approaching the site where the plague originated. Beware, the sensors are in...
So, I was sitting here thinking about the Warhammer... Is it Warhammer Plus? Whatever the streaming service is, I completely forget the name of it at this point. But I was thinking about that because, like, Disney owns both Hulu and Disney Plus, obviously. And since they implemented the parental controls, the assumption now is that they're probably going to roll Hulu into Disney Plus and just be like, hey, if you sign in a 18 plus account, you can watch rated R stuff. If not, you get the kids stuff only. And I was sitting here thinking about that, and I'm like, we're starting to see this where streaming services are starting to roll together. You have Discovery, the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, which is resulting in Discovery buying. Discovery buying Warner Brothers. And a lot of Warner Brothers staff is getting the boot because the Discovery, like the guy who's in charge, from what I've heard, he's a hard ass, but he's loyal to the people he knows are competent.
Regarding your
and he trims the fat on a lot of stuff. You know, he's effectively a bean counter. He cares about profits and expenditures. He doesn't care about, like, this seems like it'd be neat. It's like, no, what makes money? But so we're likely gonna see, I think HBO is owned by Warner Brothers, something like that. But the assumption is that Discovery Plus is going to get rolled in with whatever, or vice versa. And I was sitting here thinking about the Warhammer stuff, and I'm like, okay, so we're seeing a lot of streaming services likely getting merged, or just outright dying off in the coming, I'd say, year to 2 years. Let's be real here. The streaming wars ended. It got way too big, too many companies got involved, the prices kept rising to compete, everybody's trying to get their hip new thing, you know, everybody wants to have The Mandalorian or The Witcher, whatever thing can become the new hotness. What's Warhammer got? Because honestly, the, like, painting tutorial stuff, you could just, if you really want to, you could just do a YouTube channel. You could do streams. Which, if I'm being real here, I think that would be the smarter move. You'd do streams, you'd have some giveaways, get people interested, bing bang boom, easy job. Setting up a whole streaming service? Credit where credit is due. The people who are doing the animations and stuff on there, phenomenal job. But it just isn't, to my knowledge, it's not pulling in a lot of people. You know, to sell me on another streaming service, you gotta really pull me in, and I'm not seeing much. You know, well, you can get access to this miniature. I've said it before about Destiny, it's the same kind of, hey, by paying us, you've unlocked the ability to pay us more. No, you're insane. If you honestly think I'm going to be excited, oh boy, I unlocked the ability to give someone else more of my money. No, you're an idiot. I'm not excited for that, I'm not happy. If anything, I'm annoyed. And that shouldn't be how these things are run. But here we are. And everything with this streaming service, I just can't see it lasting long. There's just not enough content. I honestly think just putting the stuff on a YouTube channel is the best bet they could have done. It's a lot more reasonable. Yeah, you're not getting those primo monthly subscriptions, and you're gonna have to deal with ad rates that fluctuate depending on the month. But, you know, that's something you gotta deal with.
This location is extreme. Correct. Since I need the Space Marine.
But yeah, it's just... I can't see that going very long. It's unfortunate, but... it's to be expected. It would be like if Matt Mercer and the Critical Role people were like, hey, we're gonna do our own streaming service for just Critical Role, or like Wizards of the Coast did that. And they had like DM Academy, teach people how to not suck as a dungeon master, and then they suck anyways because, you know, that's what happens. But, you know, the idea of a very small and niche thing being used to try to facilitate or to be the justification for a streaming service, it just doesn't work. I remember a few years ago people saying that the entire market, like the market value of tabletop wargaming, is less than the medical suppository market. There's less money in miniatures and wargaming than there is for medicine you stick in your butt. If that isn't I mean, it's medicine, so of course the value's gonna be high, but that's still really depressing. Because I can't think of many medicines that actually are required to be in that way. And God, it drives me nuts because I get it. Part of it's perceived value. We had this discussion before about perceived value with miniatures and how it's completely asinine because the perceived value fluctuates so heavily that the value is very little. But it really sucks because you see these companies being like, our stuff's amazing. Games Workshop, our stuff's amazing. We can do a streaming service. No, you cannot. Games Workshop has not put in the money and the effort for for anything for their IP. If we're being 100% honest, you look at, let's say, video games. 40K video games are the biggest crapshoot I've ever seen in my life. You know, you got games like this. Fun, neat. You have games like Space Marine. Really fun, really neat. Pretty much universally loved. Then you have Warhammer 40K Regicide. It's just chess, they rebranded it. Or there's another one that's literally Plants vs. Zombies, the lane defense kind of stuff, but Space Marines and Orcs. It's so hit and miss. And to a degree, I get it. Games Workshop doesn't want to get involved in the game side of things. I get that. Disney doesn't even want to do that anymore. Ooh, fancy staff. So, you know, I understand. Getting involved in that side of the industry can be tedious. It can be expensive, it can go bad. If your team sucks, then it definitely can go bad, or if you're not willing to give your staff time. But if you just say, yeah, we'll lease out our stuff to whomever desires the rights, you're gonna get bad games. And I've said it before, it does damage to your brand. I bet there are people who saw Regicide on Steam, and now when they hear Warhammer, they go, oh, the franchise with that busted-ass, dumb-as-hell chess game? Oh, the one that has the Plants vs. Zombies knockoff? That's gonna stick with those people. It's stuck with me. Good thing I played Dawn of War beforehand. And that's another great example. Dawn of War 3 did so much damage to the Dawn of War franchise especially. Like, yeah, I get it. Dawn of War 2 was definitely not like 1. I understand that. I liked both for various reasons. I wish they could have hybridized them. But damn. 3 did nobody favors. I have yet to find a person who's like, yeah, Dawn of War 3 was pretty good. I can't even find, like, multiplayer videos anymore. There's a guy I specifically watch here on YouTube just for Dawn of War 2, the Elite mod. He does cast matches for it. He did like 3 shoutcasts and then never touched the game again. Nobody sent him footage. The community died that quickly. And if it's the argument, because I've seen people be like, oh, well, what was it? What was the argument people were making? It was dumb as hell. RTS games just aren't that popular. RTS games can have communities that last a long time. Supreme Commander, Soupcom 1, Broken Alliance, I think. There are still people playing competitively. There's a guy I watch also who does casting, Guile, Gyle. He does exclusively Supreme Commander casts. And he has quite a bit of footage. I think it's T90 Official. He does casts for Age of Empires 2. Age of Empires 2 is 20 years old. I think. It might even be older. I got it when I was like 9-ish. My childhood's a blur. I don't remember things very well. But it still, decades later, has a player base big enough to do competitive circuits. Yeah, it's not League of Legends big, but it's big enough that you can find matches. That it's big enough they've had to remaster the game like 2-3 times. I don't even know how Age of Empires 4 is. I've heard anybody talk about it post-release. But you know what I still see people talking about? Age of Empires 2. And that's the big thing. As much as Space Marine was good, it didn't get enough support. So, realistically, the only game that... I'm trying to think how to word this. That Games Workshop has going for them is Dawn of War 1. Because people still do, like, Ultimate Apocalypse, Titanium mod, the Reunification mod, which I was meaning to do a video on. I've mentioned it before. My version's pretty busted. Did I die?
Your existence is a curse upon this world.
Oh no, I'm alive. Okay. I just saw somebody slump over. I thought it was me. I was like, did I die mid, like, cutscene?
You set me up, Inquisitor.
Yeah. Like, video games have very low... Ooh, fancy. I'm trying to think of the way to word this. They have a high cost, but low cost for a community. Especially if there's modding tools, because the community will sustain itself for a good while. And it lacks that. Okay, one good blueprint, that's fine.
Inquisitor, we have a breach on...
Ooh, this mission starts right here.
I'm beginning to appreciate.
Part of me is just floored that we even had, like, streaming wars, but in the end I'm not surprised. Why can't we have that for YouTube? Why can't we have, like, competitors rise up and actually compete? You know, realistically, I would upload on multiple, like, places, especially if I could actually make money. If I could make a few bucks, I would be wherever, honestly. Just to fund my gaming habit here. Yeah, I just wish we had more competition in, like, the YouTube space instead of, like, streaming services. I get it, it's easier to sit here and have competition for consumers that way than trying to compete for eyes on, like, live stream alternatives. I mean, look at what happened with Twitch versus Mixer. Admittedly, Mixer was a absolute failure unto itself. The ideas were there, but they blew all their money on, like, Shroud and Ninja. It's not even me, like, talking smack on those guys. You know, I don't know them personally. I can't say whether they're good people, bad people, regardless of their content. I like Shroud's content. He'd play Tarkov sometimes. Dude was cracked out of his mind. I enjoyed it. But, like, you don't throw all that money towards two people. You just don't. Especially when they were missing key features that Twitch still had. I remember some guys I watch here on YouTube, they were on, like, I think it's Caffeine? And I was on that site watching a stream, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, the UI for this whole streaming server, like, live streaming site is horrible. You know, it's kind of like when people try to be as minimalist as possible, and it goes from like, oh, I get it, you just want to have a very simple layout, to, hey, why can't I see, like, viewer numbers, or chat, or anything? And it's just like, oh, it's because it's the hip minimalist thing. It's like, no, this is annoying. I like information. It's like, I'll be honest, when I'm watching someone stream, I think it's cool to watch their view numbers go up or down. You know, you can kind of get excited for someone when it's like, hey, you get, you know, 10 viewers and suddenly you're up to 100 after someone raids you. That's so cool to watch. Instead of just being like, hey, chat seems to be a little more lively. Or not. Hell, I've seen streams where there's 1,000 people watching and 3 people talking in chat. It just happens. Ooh, Call Astartes. Yoink. Yeah, we'll try to loop this back to the Warhammer streaming. I don't think it's gonna last. I think they really, really overestimated their content. I said before, they should have went on to Netflix, get people interested through that. If they really wanted to, you probably can't because he's still doing Witcher. I was gonna say, You get Henry Cavill, because he is a Warhammer nerd. He plays Custodes. You know, talk to him. Try to do a show with him on it. If you're going to have someone play a Space Marine, that man is built like a Space Marine. But that's the other concern. Let's say you do make a live-action Space Marine show. Let's say you get Henry Cavill. Who do you get writing? Do you get, like, Dan Abnett or one of the Black Library guys? Because you could, I mean, they're there. Or do you get some established Hollywood person? Because right now, I wouldn't have any faith in a lot of directors, a lot of writers. Because I think we're still suffering from, I call it like Marvel syndrome. You know, why doesn't this hero have any funny quips to say right now? Somebody just died in front of them. Why aren't they being funny? It's like, no, you need serious moments. That happened with The Witcher, season 2, I think? I think something happens to, like, Roach or somebody, and originally they were going to have Geralt say something, and Henry Cavill, he's like, doing the shot, he's like, no, this doesn't fit Geralt's character. You know, how... One, kudos to whoever was in charge of that to actually be like, okay, you know the story, you know the lore, let's give you kind of more say on this. Because I can guarantee there are directors out there who'd have been like, shut the hell up, do what we wrote, that's what you're here for. And, you know, kudos for actually adapting. Instead of just being like, we wrote this, we do this, we do not stray from the script. It's just worrying that you'd end up with this really weird, not 40k show. And I know that's rich coming from me, considering a few episodes ago I made a joke about having a Plague Marine make a virus called Ligma. But I also wouldn't actually want that. That's just me memeing. You know, that's some if the Emperor had text-to-speech device kind of tier shit. It's good for jokes, but if you're trying to do a serious show, you would never do that. Man, I wish there was more. I wish the streaming thing was not going on. I feel like there is potential for Games Workshop to do more with the 40k IP. It's just the matter of whether they would actually do something with it. And I do have a little bit of a worry. Like, it sucks when you have to do proverbial homework. You know, this is something I had talked to my brother about, because we're talking about something, can't remember what, and he had said, yeah, I have never seen a full Marvel movie outside of, like, Iron Man 1. I said, okay, you know, why haven't you seen a full movie? You know, I was naturally curious. He goes, because it feels like I have to do research, you know? I can't just sit down and watch it. I have to watch, you know, this to explain this and introduce this character, and, you know, watch this Captain America movie to explain this. And I was like, honestly, yeah, I get that. That is a problem. And knowing 40K, I think that problem would only get exasperated. Because you guys know how deep 40K lore can go. I know how deep 40K lore can go. Yes, you can do a very, very cursory view of stuff. That's what I tend to do when I do the little lore bits in these episodes for you guys. You know, when I went over, like, the Dark Eldar, I didn't go into every little bit. Because there's a lot of lore. Not as much as, you know, Space Marines get, or Chaos, but there's still lore. And at a certain degree, or a certain level, really, you start going from, like, hey, this is pertinent information, to, hey, here's a random fact. And that's where it starts to get tiresome. And I think it'd be tough for people to be like, oh, watching a show would be like, oh, who are these guys? These are the Eldar. Okay, who are those? Those are the Dark Eldar. What's the difference? Okay, well, this starts back with the formation of Slaanesh and the fall of the original Eldar Empire, and it's like, hold on, how long ago was this? And you start having to really piece stuff together. And then that raises the question, do you create a 40K cinematic universe? Because that's gonna suck. Because then it's like the hyper streamlined, I guess, made for average person level stuff. And it loses a lot of what makes it unique. And that's a problem I can see happening. I hate the Cabalite marksmen. Their stupid shields are just tedious. Alright, nothing here. Just have to clean up the last few dudes. Get rid of all of these, because I know I'm not going to need them. And I'd rather get more valuable loot. I guess in the end of the day, when talking about, like, doing a live action show and a streaming service for 40K, I don't really have an answer.
But I appreciate it.
You know, I try to provide fixes for everything, but I feel like the only fixes just don't. I mean, the show you could do, maybe. There are, like I said, risks, you know, how much research someone has to take to understand all this stuff. If not, how much time are you going to spend doing exposition dumps to clear up everything? Granted, some things you can do very, very quickly. Prime example here, you look at Dark Eldar, like, oh, why are there snake people? Why is there a floating brain in a suit for the Medusae? You can just quick explain, yeah, they have a bunch of slaves, and other races have worked with them, willingly or unwillingly. Boom, done. Takes 2 seconds, lore explained. Ooh. Oh no, I hit the wrong button. I always do that, I forget which one. Oh well, what stuff I lost wasn't that big a deal. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.